Listen, this guy is nervous as hell to face Kamala Harris. He's already trying to back out of the debate. Did you notice that? Part of that is because he knows she's going to whoop him in the debate.
That was Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro humiliating Donald Trump in a devastating call-out. And before we get to the rest of that clip, and there is more and it is incredible, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. It would really mean a lot to me and really helps us build this incredible movement. But a little bit more context on the rest of that clip from Josh Shapiro. He was asked about Donald Trump's racist attack on Kamala Harris's identity the other day, and he responded in just an incredibly perfect way, not only challenging Donald Trump to debate Kamala Harris, which he is clearly afraid to do, but calling him out for his complete lack of character. So let's check out the rest of this clip.
He attacks other people based on what they look like or who they pray to, who they love, the way they were raised. He tries to divide Americans because, quite frankly, he struggles with uplifting all Americans. I think it shows a profound weakness in a leader when they can't sell themselves, but instead they got to attack other people. And attacking the identity of the vice president is shameful. And attacking the identity of the vice president doesn't at all reflect negatively on Vice President Harris, but shows a real insecurity about Donald Trump. Listen, this guy is nervous as hell to face Kamala Harris. He's already trying to back out of the debate. Did you notice that? Part of that is because he knows she's going to whoop him in the debate. She is a skilled prosecutor, a great communicator. But there's another reason why he doesn't really want to debate her and doesn't really want to have a conversation about the issues. And that is because he can't defend his record. He has a record of failure when he was president. I want you to think about this. When he was president, we had fewer jobs in Pennsylvania. We had less freedom and a whole lot more chaos when Donald Trump was in charge. And listen, Kamala Harris, what she proposes to do for this nation is uplifting. It is empowering. And it's going to help make sure we move all Pennsylvanians forward, from our HBCUs to our skyscraped center cities to our farmlands. And I must tell you that I've been traveling all around this Commonwealth, as you know, doing my job as governor and also making sure that I tell people about the Kamala Harris that I know and that I've known for the last 20 years. Folks are excited wherever I go. Rural communities, suburban, urban communities, they're fired up, they're ready to go. And I think Donald Trump's attacks speak volumes about the kind of coward that he is, about his own failings, and say nothing about the great qualifications of the vice president.
Perfectly put from Governor Shapiro, someone who might be Kamala Harris's running mate. So Donald Trump should be scared because he could be dealing with Josh Shapiro on the campaign trail for the next 95 days. So I am sure he is incredibly scared of that. And it's not just Donald Trump who would be scared of Governor Josh Shapiro. It is also J.D. Vance, who for some reason decided to take a very strange shot at Governor Shapiro. And of course, the governor responded so perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and check that out.
Really bad impression of Barack Obama. What is your response to that?
Is that what he said? That's great. I love how we get the real-time quotes here. I mean, look, I don't know. Barack Obama was probably our most gifted orator of my time, so it's kind of a weird insult, I guess. But look, I'll say this about J.D. Vance. It is real hard being honest with the American people when you're not being honest with yourself. J.D. Vance is a total phony baloney. He is the most inorganic candidate I think I have ever seen on the national stage. He doesn't know what he believes, and that is why it is impossible for him to articulate a coherent message to the American people, because he doesn't believe it. This guy is not exactly off to a good start, and it is clear that Donald Trump really has buyer's remorse with his pick. So if he wants to sling insults in my direction, which I'm not even sure is an insult, let him do it. That's fine. Bring it on. I'll be ready for whatever the hell J.D. Vance throws my direction.
I don't know how comparing someone to Barack Obama is an insult, but that just shows how weird J.D. Vance is, something that we already know. But I think it's great what the governor points out there and calling out J.D. Vance for being fake, being a phony baloney. And he hits at something really important there, that J.D. Vance is only ever truthful and honest, or we've really only ever seen the truth come out of him when he's attacking Donald Trump, when he said Donald Trump would be America's Hitler, when he did say he'd be a disaster as president. That was the only time J.D. Vance was real and truthful and honest with the American people, and something he clearly hasn't been in his time in the Senate and his time as Donald Trump's running mate, which could be coming to an end soon. There's a lot of people saying that Donald Trump might want to dump J.D. Vance, which would be absolutely hilarious, and probably for good reason, because he's done such a terrible job. And the terrible job that he's done and just the fakeness of J.D. Vance was called out by friend of the show, Jessica Tarlov, yes, the Fox News liberal, who's the only person delivering on Fox, delivering truth on Fox, and she had this to say about J.D. Vance.
J.D. Vance calling Kamala Harris a chameleon when he's now running with a man who he said might be America's Hitler is beyond comprehension.
Obviously, J.D. Vance has been called out a ton lately, and just in the most humiliating ways. But my favorite, and one that we've played on the show again, but I'm going to play again just because it is so incredibly great, comes from comedian and actress Chelsea Handler, who had this to say about J.D. Vance.
Oh, hey! As you might have heard, Donald Trump's running mate and future star of his own Dateline episode, J.D. Vance, is ruffling quite a few feathers this week.
We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies who look at Kamala Harris. The entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Listen up, you wingnut elegy. This country is still controlled by men in systems that were set up by men that are carefully crafted to continue to benefit men. So, to put it in women-hating terms, you'll understand you're being hysterical. But let's be clear, there's no correlation between childless people and the presidency. For example, our very first United States president, Mr. George Washington, didn't have children. In fact, he had 2 stepchildren. That's right, just like someone else I know. And to your point about Kamala not being fit because she's not a mother, I'd like to remind you that no president in the history of the United States has ever been a mother. But maybe if she had 5 kids with 3 different men and a scandalous affair with a porn star and was convicted felon, that would be more palatable to Republican men. I mean, my God, are we tired? You sad, diet, Mountain Dew drinking, couch humping, dolphin porn aficionado, all of us childless cat and dog ladies are going to go from childless and crushing it to childless and crushing you in November. And before you tell me he didn't really a couch, spare me. I grew up in New Jersey in the 80s where everyone had a couch in their basement, and I know a couch when I see one.
That clip just cracks me up every time. There's a reason why that video went so mega viral, because it's not only humiliating to J.D. Vance, but it's just spot on about who he is as a person, the character he lacks, and it's also pretty funny. And someone who, besides Chelsea, who has done a great job calling out Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, is someone who we love on this show, and that is Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg has really hit J.D. Vance pretty hard, and again, maybe it's because he might be Kamala Harris's running mate, and in that case, it's good that he's getting prepped on his J.D. Vance attacks. It would be amazing to see Pete and J.D. in a debate, because I know what would happen. Pete would just wipe the floor with him. It's what he's already done on every single time he's gone on Fox News or really any network show to absolutely dunk on J.D. Vance. But enough talking about it. Let's watch Pete Buttigieg shred J.D. Vance.
Do you think that there's someone she could pick as her vice president that would make him regret that choice?
Well, again, that's going to be her call, her process. But what I will say is that the choice of J.D. Vance is a regrettable choice, because he's somebody who was at his most convincing and effective when he talked about how unfit for office Donald Trump is. And he has not explained any reason, other than, of course, his obvious interest in power, why he would have changed his mind on that. Remember, J.D. Vance's whole identity is that he is connected to Appalachia, a place that is being hurt so profoundly by the opioid crisis. So the fact that he didn't just refer to Donald Trump as an idiot, though he didn't just say all kinds of things about how he was terrible, but compared Donald Trump to opioids, that is literally the darkest, most negative thing someone connected to Appalachia could possibly say about a politician. And that was in public, right? In private, he was comparing him to Hitler, reportedly. He has yet to explain why his opinion would be any different other than his own search for power.
So when he said...
Pete talks about this point that we brought up earlier in the show, and I just think it's so important that I want to reiterate it. The only time that J.D. Vance has been honest or seems kind of compelling was when he was talking about the disaster that Donald Trump is and would be if he was elected president, when he was talking about him in 2016. That's the only time J.D. Vance was ever honest or showed any bit of character or backbone. And I've said this before, but the fact that J.D. Vance could observe that Donald Trump had no character, which it's not giving him a ton of points to see Donald Trump doesn't have any character, but the fact that he could point that out and know it, and then a couple years later come to support him, shows that not only does Donald Trump obviously have no character, we've known that for a long time, but neither does J.D. Vance. To have conviction and call a person out and then get in line behind them because it advances your career, you have no character, J.D. Vance. And that is abundantly true to anyone who sees him, and everyone who does see him, as we've talked about, knows that he is terrible, and that is why he is historically the worst vice presidential nominee in history. Just absolutely devastating to the Trump campaign, and we love to see that. We love that every decision that Donald Trump has made in this campaign has either blown up in his face or gone horribly wrong. I guess those things are pretty similar, but at least they're bad, both of them, and they're bad for Donald Trump, and that makes me so happy. And if that makes you as happy as well, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and join what we are building in this community. It would really mean a lot to me. And as always, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and if you want to become a supporter of this channel, go ahead and hit the join button. You can become an exclusive member of this channel. I'll be putting out bonus content every week, and it is just another extra layer of way to support this channel and would really mean a lot to me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.